Mr. City Manager, we're ready for open study.
Mayor, members of the City Council, good evening, and thank you for your patience as we were running just a little bit late. Open study session tonight is a discussion of the Residential Hen and Bee Ordinance by Community Development Director Greer. He's just going to go over some of the key provisions and let you know what the Planning Commission will be considering in the next 60 to 90 days. Give you a chance to provide any input you have at this point, but this will be coming back to you in first of the year kind of time frame. So, Austin.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. Thanks to the generosity of City Manager Williamson, he has given me a unique opportunity to present to you all on the birds and the bees this evening, so please bear with me. I'm sorry, that was a terrible opener. My wife told me not to do it, but I couldn't pass it up, so I'll move on. I think Scott told me not to, too, so. Over the past couple of years, stemming from the Gladstone Shaping Our Future initiative, City staff has been evaluating the city's current ordinances to determine whether or not those ordinances allow for residents to keep hens and bees on their residential property. Within the last year, inquiries from residents to have hens or bees has increased and become more frequent. These individuals who have contacted city staff have been people who typically live in a neighborhood on a quarter or half-acre lot. Currently, the City of Gladstone's codes and ordinances, they're a bit confusing and do not adequately address these topics. In your packet, I have drafted summaries, ordinances, and permits to better address these topics moving forward. On Monday, August 15th, City staff held an open study session with the Planning Commission to get feedback and improve those current drafts, and that went really well. In summary, the Planning Commission as a whole is in favor of allowing hens and bees on residential lots in Gladstone with some government regulation. On the screen tonight, you will see some of the highlights and key components of the draft ordinance discussed with the Planning Commission. As you can see, both ordinances, they mirror each other pretty closely, which staff believes will help residents understand the ordinance better. They're pretty clear, pretty straightforward, and easy to understand. So you'll see on the board up there, up to 3 acres, you would be allowed to have 6 hens maximum. 3 acres or more, which we have some of those lots here in Gladstone that have come up over the past couple of years, you would have a maximum of 10 hens. We are proposing a one-time permit fee. It's very similar to the dog fee that we have. It's around $15 to $20, and so staff has proposed $20 there. Coops and runs shall be at least 10 feet from any property line and at least 50 feet from any residential structure, deck, or porch that's not owned by the applicant. Private restrictions such as an HOA shall supersede the city regulation. And enforcement will be a combination between the Community Development Department, so the code enforcement component, as well as police, which is the animal control component. On the right side, you'll see the bees category, very similar to the hens. Up to 3 acres, you could have 1 beehive at maximum. If you have 3 acres or more, you would be allowed to have 2 beehives as well. Currently, the Atkins Johnson farm has 2 beehives there. Also proposing a one-time permit fee of approximately $20, and all hives must be at least 10 feet from any property line and at least 50 feet from any residential structure, deck, or porch not owned by the applicant. Again, private restrictions such as an HOA shall supersede any city regulation, and then enforcement will also be a combination between community development staff and the police department. Depending on your feedback tonight, staff's proposed timeline for continuing review and potential adoption is taking it back to the Planning Commission for consideration probably sometime in October, and then City Council's final consideration October and November of this year. And if you guys have any questions, I'll try to do my best.
Questions, comments?
I don't. I have one question.
Please.
Mayor Ganos. Austin, and don't tell me how I know this, but ask me how I know this. I've seen ordinances that have something that restricts the flight pattern, normal flight pattern of bees, which is generally 10 feet. And some have stated whether a fence not allowed that tall, then shrubbery or something, when it adjoins, you know, especially a residential area, lot to lot, to kind of keep the bees where the bees should be.
Yeah, that was discussed at the Planning Commission as well. I'm totally open to any ideas on trying to help regulate flight patterns because, you know, typically anybody who puts in a privacy fence is around 6 feet tall.
Right.
If the coop were to be, you know, 8 feet tall, you would be able to see the peak of that, or a beehive if it was up higher. So I'm totally open to any ideas that you guys may have.
I just throw it out because I've seen it,
Yeah.
don't know if it makes sense or not, but something 10 feet tall and it keeps them within their property is kind of the intent.
Sure, it's a good idea.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Moore.
Austin, was there some discussion about water for the bees?
Yeah, that it's in the ordinance itself. It's a little bit more detailed to provide fresh water. You know, if you were to have a, lack of better words, irresponsible beekeeper who's not putting out fresh water, but you have a neighbor who has a bird bath that they really like, and they put out fresh water frequently, the bees could potentially hop over. I'm no expert, but that's what my research tells me. But yes, it does detail in the ordinance itself to a fresh water source.
Please.
I just want to make sure that you state that roosters are not allowed. I think that people will be concerned about noise, especially very early in the morning. So if you could speak to that.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. Roosters are not allowed, or the butchering of any type of chickens at all. Those two are also key components of the ordinance.
Yeah, the proposed restrictions that you've outlined here, are they based on industry standards or what you have found in other similar cities, or?
I did some research for similar cities, and quite a few in the metro have an ordinance on hens and chickens. We weren't able to find a ton in the metro for bees, but we found Liberty's ordinance, and I thought it was really straightforward, and it was done rather recently, I think in the last 3 years. So I modeled this particular ordinance off the one that was adopted for Liberty, I think in 2019 or somewhere in that time frame, and it was super easy to understand and straightforward. So that's the particular city that I kind of ran with.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah, and my only other concern is we want people to understand that we're looking at these because we're trying to facilitate hens and chickens, not ban them or prohibit them or put in so many restrictions that it makes it impossible, you know, for people to do it. We've had people come here with interest. Our ordinances are not clear. So I'm all for moving forward with this. I just want to make sure that nobody thinks that it's because we're anti-bee or anti-chicken. Okay. That's all I've got. Any other comments? Thank you, Austin.
Thank you.
Is that it for this evening, Mr. City Manager? We'll take a 2-minute break and start our regular meeting at 7:30.
that is with her.
Evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the September 12th, 2022 regular meeting of the Gladstone City Council. Call the meeting to order. Madam Clerk, all of the members of City Council are present, and we have a quorum. Everyone please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next item is the approval of the agenda for tonight's meeting. We have a certificate of recognition for one of our citizens and 3 exciting resolutions on the agenda this evening. Anyone have any changes for tonight's agenda? Hearing none, the agenda is approved. We'll move on to item 5, approval of the minutes from the August 22nd, 2022 closed City Council meeting.
Mayor Garnis.
Councilman Mallons.
I move to accept the minutes as presented from the August 22nd, 2022 closed City Council meeting.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the August 22nd, 2022 closed City Council meeting minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Abstain.
Thank you. Minutes are hereby approved. Item 6 is approval of the minutes from the August 22nd, 2022 regular City Council meeting.
Mayor Garnis.
Councilman Mallons.
I move to accept the minutes as presented from the August 22nd, 2022 regular City Council meeting.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the August 22nd, 2022 regular City Council meeting minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Minutes are hereby approved. We'll move on to item 7, presentation of a certificate of recognition for citizen involvement with the police department. Chief Ferris, could you introduce Mr. Portwood and give us some background, please?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council. I'm really happy to be able to present this to one of our citizens. You know, we see through social media and everything else all kinds of incidents where things are going on in a community, especially crime, and people step over or record and don't lend a helping hand. That wasn't the case in the early morning hours of August the 11th. Just a few weeks ago, we had a double shooting that occurred in the area of 68th and Broadway. I was told by the detectives that we had a witness at the scene. Mr. Gary Portwood heard the commotion, came out of the lot, found 2 gentlemen that had actually was witnessing the crime in progress. 2 of them had been shot. He took a T-shirt off and wrapped one of their legs, ran back to his truck, got another T-shirt, wrapped the other leg, called the police, stayed there, gave a great witness statement, and that wasn't enough. As he was going to work quite some time later, stumbled upon the stolen car, the victim's car that had been taken in this robbery, sitting out on the highway, and called that in as well. So about the only thing he didn't do that night was put handcuffs on the individuals. So it was really nice that that he took the time to do that and was a good steward of the community, and we wanted to recognize him for his actions that night in rendering aid to two perfect strangers, sticking around, help us solve this, and hopefully get two people charged in the very near future.
Wow. Well, that's great. Thank you, Chief.
You want to come on, Mr. Portwood?
Mr. Portwood, any comments?
I just did what I was, supposed to do as a person,
Yeah, thank you so much. I wanted to just read the certificate of recognition presented to Gary Portwood, who on August 11, 2022, through his keen observation and willingness to become an involved citizen, assisted in an investigation, rendering aid to two victims, and leading to the recovery of the suspect vehicle. On behalf of the mayor, city council, and all Gladstone residents, our appreciation and respect for your outstanding response in a time of need and your positive role as a community leader presented this 12th day of September 2022. So. Thank you.
Good job. Yeah.
We love hearing stories like that. We'll move on to item 8 on the agenda, communications from the audience. Is there any member of the audience that would like to address City Council on a matter that is not on this evening's agenda? Please, would you come up to the podium, give your name and address for the record, and...
My name's Charlie Mixon. I am representing the Santerra Townhomes this evening. We have been trying for the last 2 or 3 years to get Gladstone to come out and replace some curbs for our residents that are crumbled and holding water, and it just kind of eroded right down into the soil, into a gravel base. And we're just not getting a straight, definite answer on when that will take place. These curbs, 4 units share one driveway, so we have people coming in and out of the same curbs, and they're necessary to get to our community mailboxes as well, where the adults or people have to come check the mail. Without actually having to step off a curb, they can go down into a rollback curb down into the street. And I have pictures if you'd like to see them. If not, we just want you guys to be aware that we've been trying to get this done, and we would just like to get an answer when it will be done.
Is this something you're aware of, Mr. City Manager?
No, but I'll check into it in the morning and give Mr. Mixon a call.
Good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
We're on it.
Hi, my name is Jenny McGee, 6917 North Troost Avenue, and I received a letter from another Gladstone resident who wished to come here tonight to talk to you about chickens, but she was not able to do so. So can I read the letter?
Please.
Okay. My name is Amy Selesky, and I live in Gladstone, 1 street over from the Kansas City line. I would like to get an ordinance passed to have urban chickens in Gladstone, and ask that since Gladstone is a pocket within Kansas City, that Gladstone adopt neighboring Kansas City's current updated ordinance. A maximum of 15 adult chickens or 10 rabbits are permitted, with larger numbers allowed if animals are less than 4 months old. Roosters require 300 feet setback from buildings other than the animal keeper's dwelling. Eggs produced on-site may be sold from residential properties. We love our chickens like pets and have them for the eggs, no roosters, because our daughter has severe, life-threatening multiple allergies, and these eggs have been a safe food source for her since we can control what the chickens eat. In this day, it's also important to be as self-sufficient as possible. What can my family do to help get Kansas City's ordinance adopted in Gladstone? Is there an allowance to get a special use permit for health reasons? Thank you for taking time to read this, and I look forward to hearing back from you, please. Amy Zaleski.
Thank you, Jenny. I know that'll be part of the discussion when it goes back to Planning Commission and then comes back here, and I couldn't be happier that Planning Commission will be dealing with the public comments on this issue before they come here. I've had similar comments from a neighbor beekeeper, so thank you.
Hello, my name is Jean Ryerson. I live at 3955 Northeast 63rd Terrace. And yes, Chief Ferris, I'm your neighbor. Anyway, I am on the board of the Carriage Hill 77 to 9 HOA. I know they have been working with the city with a particular Airbnb that is causing problems. We have spent as a board money for an attorney to work against it ourselves. Both the city ordinance and our HOA covenant say that it can't happen. However, I know that the owner has been told to stop, if I have that right. And I thought I'd read this email that we received from Chaz Wood, who lives on North Cleveland. He told us that I don't think the homeowner is taking this issue seriously. This past weekend, I was taking a walk, and as I walked, a group of younger people walked behind me on Cleveland. I turned onto 62nd Terrace, and the group caught up with me and passed me. I would estimate the group ranged in age from late teens to mid-20s. I believe there were 12 in all. They weren't from around here, as one of the group asked what animal was making noises in the trees. They were referring to cicadas. The entire group went into the home located at 4008 Northeast 62nd Terrace, the home in question. It was obvious they weren't the owners of the home. I can only assume they were renting from Airbnb. I will add that the group were respectful and polite. I know that there have been some back and forth with the owner. I'm just here representing my fellow members of the HOA, one of whom told us that Kansas City has an ordinance that's making it harder to have Airbnbs there, so they're moving out to other suburbs. And as you know, if we had a buyer's market and there were two homes someone was considering, and one was buy a short-term rental, I'd probably have a harder time selling it. We're concerned about the upkeep and all the things that keep our neighborhood nice. And each HOA working with legal costs to try to stop this would not be as effective as the city stopping it. And I am here to ask that you continue to work and stop this from becoming a problem, because there are already 22 in Gladstone. Thank you.
Thank you. That answered one of the questions we had earlier today when we were talking about how many of them do we have in Gladstone. But thank you.
Mayor, just for the residents' benefit, I'll be attending their HOA meeting at 6:30 Wednesday night at Northland Neighborhoods Incorporated on this issue.
Thank you. Any other comments from the audience? Please.
My name is Jim Lohman. I live in the Santerra addition, and I want to make a proposal to you, and that is we have 3 fire hydrants on the streets of Circle Drive and 65th Terrace, and I'd be happy to paint those for you if you would furnish the paint.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Interesting issue. I know I've got a fire hydrant that needs painting also.
Yeah, let me work on that in the morning and
okay,
see where we're at.
All right, thank you. Mr. Oldebecken.
Good evening. My name is Jim Oldebecken. I live on 400 Northeast 76th Terrace. And this week is International Democracy Day on Thursday, declared by the United Nations. And, you know, I've been frustrated because I hear the word democracy in the news, and the people that speak about democracy and, you know, make their statements, they don't define it. In fact, I bought a book on democracy because it was an interest of mine by Condoleezza Rice, Democracy, The Long Road to Freedom. There was no definition of democracy in there. And I've been thinking about that, and I think I found the definition. It's right here. All these citizens, and 4 people already giving their comments, respectful, participating, attending, and not leaving after they get their proclamation or make their comment. Thank you. And I want to say just anecdotally regarding this week and what democracy means to us. I had a conversation with another resident on 76th Terrace. We were talking about things in general, and government came up, democracy came up. And this gentleman made the comment that he said, we are no longer a democracy, or we are not a democracy. We are not a democracy. I asked why. He said, well, the word democracy is not in the Declaration or in the Constitution. And it was the 4th of July. A few days later, I read both. Takes under an hour, not that long. And he was right. But maybe it's said just a little differently. In fact, I brought a copy of the Constitution, page 1 of 2. This is the actual size. And I guess the founders left us a very noticeable clue. Can you see I know it's faded. Can you see the first 3 words? We the people. And I guess when things get confusing, we can remember that. And I think with that goes the understanding that really if it's we the people and there's a problem with it, it's us, collectively. And, you know, let us apply ourselves if we value it. And I encourage folks to read about International Democracy Day. There's a nice video from the UN, and there's a very interesting report. I like metrics. I like to see trend. I mean, people can make their statements, but it's great if there's an attempt to understand how things are changing. Are they getting better? Are they getting worse? And the Democracy Index by The Economist magazine of London, I think is very reliable. Freedom House also, these are nonpartisan groups, and they also have a study, and they spend quite a bit of time and money to look at all the various components that are a part of democracy. And I do want to just share one comment, that I don't think democracy has anything to do with a party. And I think that's a misunderstanding. I think it's a natural one because we're a republic and we have the Republican Party and we have democracy, and many countries, we're not the only ones and we weren't the first. And you've got democracy and the Democratic Party. And, well, I guess it's obvious if you just watch TV, you see Liberty Mutual in front of the Statue of Liberty promoting something, and there's no correlation necessarily between liberty and insurance, but nevertheless, it's a free country. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Oldebecken. Once again, you shamed me into having to look up something that I should have remembered from social studies in high school, but I did have to look it up because I remembered having a similar debate on the liberty versus freedom, and whether they mean the same thing or not. And when you were talking about democracy, it reminded me we have a lot of different kinds of democracy, and I discovered in looking at it, I got an article here that I wanted to leave with you. I did not realize that the word democracy does not appear in the Declaration of Independence or the Constitution, and learned that by you making us have to learn stuff like that. So thank you for your comments. Appreciate it. Any other comments on an issue not on this evening's agenda? If not, we'll move on. Communications from City Council. We'll start with the new guy, Councilman Smith.
New guy has nothing, sir. Thank you.
Councilmember Swallow.
I just have a couple of items. I just want to wish all of our women police officers National Women Police Officer Day, and just want to thank them for their service. Not that we do not appreciate the men, but it's a great profession for women, and I'm just glad that we have a lot of women that are working on our force. I just want to wish them a good day. Also, I would like to recognize several members of our fire department that participated in the 9/11 commemorative stair climb this past weekend. That is 110 stories that they walk up with full gear. That is no easy feat, and they do it every year to recognize all of those killed on the terrorist attacks on 9/11. That would be Kirsten Seago, Andy Starks, Basil Brown, Samantha Lewis, Jason Lawson, and Preston Hoffa. Thank you for representing Gladstone so well. And then also just a reminder, this weekend is Fiesta on the Square, and there's going to be a lot of good music and fun. The weather's going to be great, and we'll be serving tacos as a fundraiser for the Northland Christmas store. So please come up and eat some tacos.
Thank you. Councilman Mallows.
No comments this evening, Mayor.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Moore.
I have nothing this evening, Mayor. Thank you.
All right, well, you're not so lucky with me. It's not really city-related, but I did want to ask for personal privilege to recognize some events that have made me feel very old in the last couple of weeks. First of all, it being 21 years since 9/11. I still remember it like it was yesterday and continue to pledge to never forget. I also wanted to recognize 3 Elizabeths, my daughter, my mother, and the Queen. Last week, my daughter Elizabeth turned 30 years old. I wanted to recognize the passing of Queen Elizabeth. My mother is Scottish, also named Elizabeth. I think she's the oldest living member of the McFarlane clan in America today. She was a proud British subject until after she retired, and then she became a proud American citizen. So out of respect for my mother and her heritage, I wanted to note the Queen's passage. Thank you for that point of personal privilege, and we'll get back to the city's business. Mr. Wingerson.
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to pass along my thank you to the residents who have or will, over the next few months, travel 72nd Street from approximately Woodland to M1. Last year, it was completely torn up consistently by Evergy replacing some of the electrical conduit in the street there. This year, we've made a mess of it by replacing curb and gutter and adding sidewalk to a significant portion to give people a place to walk along 72nd Street. And currently, it's closed for the new homes that are being built near Quick Trip so that they can connect to water and sewer. When all of that's done over the next, sometime this fall, over the next 8 weeks, something like that, it'll be milled and overlaid, and hopefully that'll be it for a while. But no promises, but that's the goal. So thank you to everybody who's tolerated that. Street maintenance program is also starting with curb and gutter repair, sidewalk repair, and overlay. For a list of those streets, you can check out our website, gladstone.mo.us. Big Shoal Country Fairs this weekend, Saturday 10 to 4 at AJ, and Fiesta on the Square, as Councilmember Spallo mentioned, is this Saturday from 6 to 9:30. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Wingerson. We'll continue with the regular agenda. Item 11, Resolution R-22-47, a resolution authorizing acceptance of a proposal from Independent Salt Company for the purchase of snow removal salt. Motion.
Mayor Garnis.
Councilman Mallows.
I move to approve Resolution R-22-47.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to adopt Resolution R-22-47. Is there any discussion about salt? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting Resolution R-22-47 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Resolution is hereby adopted. Item 12, Resolution R-22-48, a resolution authorizing acceptance of a proposal from Shawnee Mission Ford, Shawnee, Kansas, for the purchase of one 2022 Ford Ranger Super Crew cab pickup truck for the total purchase amount of $30,227.
Mayor Garnis.
Councilman Smith.
Move we adopt Resolution R-22-48.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adopt Resolution R-22-48. Is there any discussion? Being none, All those in favor of adopting Resolution R-22-48 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Resolution is hereby adopted. Item 13, Resolution R-22-49, a resolution revising the Community Center Sales Tax Fund and the Transportation Sales Tax Fund FY22 mid-year budget for the City of Gladstone, Missouri, and authorizing expenditures of funds.
Mayor Garnes.
Mayor Pro Tem Moore.
I move for the adoption of Resolution R-22-49.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to adopt Resolution R-22-49. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of adopting Resolution R-22-49 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Resolution is hereby adopted. Item 14, other business. Is there any other business for the City Council this evening? Before we adjourn, I'd like to entertain a motion to go back into closed executive session for the same issues that are on our agenda for tonight, those being pursuant to Missouri Revised Statute Open Meeting Act Exemption 610.021 Sub 1 for litigation and confidential or privileged communications with legal counsel, 610.021 Sub 2 real estate, 610.021 Sub 3 personnel, 610.021 Sub 9 employee groups, and 610.021 Sub 12 negotiated contract.
Mayor Garnes.
Mayor Pro Tem Moore.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and double seconded to go back into closed executive session. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of going back into closed executive session signify by saying, oh, we need roll call. We need roll call.
Councilman Smith?
Aye.
Councilmember Spallo?
Aye.
Councilman Mallon?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Moore?
Aye.
Mayor Garnes.
Aye. Thank you. We will take a short break for some photos and then reconvene in closed executive session. We will convene our next regular meeting in 2 weeks on September 26th. Thank you.